I think considering everything that I've seen about the FX2, that's my response. I like it, but it just seems a little weird. Welcome back to the channel. Guess whose ND filter cracked? Hopefully the Sony a6400 has better dynamic range than I've ever given it credit for. Today we are talking about the release of the brand new Sony FX2 camera I'm finding quite interesting. If this is your first time here, my name is Dominic. I'm about to embark on a 5-year-long road trip across the United States, and I need a new camera. So if you have not seen that video, I will link it in the description below. I am a Sony user. You're seeing this on a Sony a6400 right now. So let me go through some stats. You've probably seen them 1,000 times by now, but just in case you haven't. 33 megapixel sensor, same sensor that's in the a7 IV. 4K up to 60 frames, HD up to 120. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Does have S-Log3, both in video and photo mode. Does have Sony's new autofocus, the new AI autofocus chip in it. Very, very good. 16-bit RAW output. You can record RAW externally, not internally. S-Log3, S-Cinetone. You're on S-Cinetone right now. That's what we're filming on. You can use it as a streaming camera through USB. Lots to like. I like the EVF, the tiltable EVF. This checks some very strange boxes, but not the right ones. For instance, what we just talked about, 4K up to 60. 4K only up to 60, Sony? The new dynamic active stabilization from Sony. Very interesting, very good. Looks almost Panasonic level, but there's a huge crop. You know, the new S1 II, S1 IIe, and S1 R2 from Panasonic have the cropless. It does have 120 frames, but only in HD. Really? So only in HD? It's 2025. Much better cooling on the FX2. One thing that concerned me with what I saw from some people with the a7 IV, one of the reasons why I didn't make my final list in my other video, was overheating issues. Very, very concerning to me. That's one thing that would worry me about the S1 R2. Even though I really, really like that camera, there's some reports of overheating, even in some of the reviews that I saw. Some of the reviewers talked about overheating issues. But the FX2 is much more robust cooling system. It seems to be a bigger exhaust. Parts of it are bigger, and then there's also more intake slots, whatever they're called, on the back of the camera, underneath the LCD screen. On the bottom left of the body are the 3.5 millimeter microphone jack and the headphone jack. Fantastic, that's great. But when you have headphones plugged in to that headphone jack, it could interfere with the LCD screen turning around. Well, if I had headphones plugged in, which I don't know that I would ever have headphones plugged into this camera, to be fair, but if I did, that could interfere with the LCD screen turning. Not probably a huge deal for my workflow, but still, you know, something to keep in mind. Now, of course, unfortunately, I'm not nearly cool enough to get these cameras before they're released. Sony, if you want to, you know, I'd love to review it for you. So we're gonna have to wait until I can actually get my hands on one to actually shoot on it. And I am adding this to the list. I wanna be clear. I might seem a little lukewarm on it, and I am lukewarm on it, but I'm still adding it to the list. This is a great hybrid option. The fact that I can shoot stills and video in S-Log3 and grade them to look similar to one another is very, very, very enticing to me. If I did pair a Komodo X Z-mount with a Z8 or Z6 III, getting the stills on the Nikon camera to match the video that I'm shooting on the Komodo would be a task. Not impossible, definitely not impossible. Many people have done it. There's many different ways to make it happen. It's just that it would be easier in the FX2. It's just more efficient. I will tell you, as someone that has shot a lot of events, done a lot of events, live events, you know, not just weddings, but like concerts and stuff. Efficiency is the name of the game. The more efficient you can be in your workflow, especially in run and gun situations. I'm not talking about shooting on sticks with an AC and a DP and a whole bunch of people helping me. I'm a solo shooter in run and gun, fast reaction situations. That's the kind of camera that I need. At first glance, from what I'm seeing, the FX2 could be the solution to a lot of problems. One thing that's really disappointing for me, and this is something that can be fixed in firmware, so it's not that big of a deal, but very limited anamorphic support. Out of the box, only support for 1.33 and 2x anamorphic. No 1.5, which is, it's just weird. It's just weird. I think considering everything that I've seen about the FX2, that's my response. I like it, but it just seems a little weird. It just seems a little weird. Just the things that they've left off seem a little weird. The fact that they put in the digital active stabilization, whatever it's called, is great, but it's a big, big crop. That's weird, considering what other manufacturers have released recently with stabilization, especially the Panasonics. And I know Panasonic is the industry leader in stabilization. You can't expect anybody else to beat them in stabilization. Kind of the way Sony is arguably the leader in autofocus. And I know Canon and Nikon are getting close, but Sony's autofocus, you can't beat it. No one beats Sony's autofocus. And that's a consideration too. That's one of the reasons why I am considering, you know, an FX6 and a A9 III or A7R5 as the cameras to take on this trip, because the autofocus is just blazingly fast and really good and accurate. As I just said, I won't have someone pulling focus for me. A lot of the times, I'm planning to have a camera on sticks filming me all by itself. Hello, Franklin. Hi. Oh. With no one running it at all, right? So no one's gonna be managing the focus on that camera. That camera has to manage its own focus. You know, in order for me to complete the workflow that I want to complete, I'm gonna need a camera with really good autofocus. The FX2 has the best autofocus arguably available on the market, which is Sony's AI autofocus. The base ISOs are at 800 and 4000, that's an S-Log3. Those are really good ISOs. The fact that it's at 800, do I wish it was lower? Sure, on Sony's you expose to the right anyway. I like that it's at 4000 instead of 3200. Many times when I've done events over the years, 3200 to 5000 has been roughly where I want to be, up to 6400, I guess, is where I'd want to be depending on, you know, the situations. A lot of times at events, you have a lot of mixed light situations, and everybody hates mixed light situations, but when you're filming a concert, you have zero control over the lighting. Occasionally, if they really like you, you may be able to say, hey, could you not use those lights? But they have to really, really, really like you. Most of the time, they're like, shut up and go film your stupid little video over there, dickhole. The back LCD screen is like 1 million dots. Maybe they couldn't source better screens. Maybe that's what it is. But that back LCD screen resolution, horribly disappointing. And it's just weird. If this is gonna be, it says on the camera Cinema Line, that this is part of Sony's Cinema Line. Yet you're gonna have an LCD screen that's from 2018 or something. You have a main sensor that's 4K 60. In 2025, the new addition to your Cinema Line. I get that this is part of the upgrade path. If they make the FX2 too good, then they've got to make the FX6 even better, which, no, I don't know when it's coming. No one's told me anything. You know, I'm not cool enough to talk to any insiders in the industry. But whatever this camera has, the FX6 has to have more of. I think some of the weirdness that we're seeing with the FX2, some of the things that are being left out so that the FX6 has room to fill in those gaps. Gerald Undone brought up a good point that it was maybe to be used as a camera, a scouting camera, like to scout locations. I think even more, this is meant to be a crash cam. If you're shooting something commercial or narrative or something at a large scale, and you're using Buranos or Venices, that sort of thing, you're not gonna have the FX2 as your C cam, right? You're gonna have, if you need a C cam that's you know, less expensive for some reason, you're getting an FX9, possibly an FX6. But you could bring in the FX2 as your crash cam, right? You've got some gaffer or something running around with the FX2 shooting some behind the scenes stuff. And I think that's where Sony is trying to place this in, saying, hey, if you're a hybrid shooter and you want to upgrade along the path, here's a path that will allow you to start upgrading into our cinema system. If you're already a Sony production house, right? You're already doing large scale commercials and you've got Buranos that you own, or you work with a rental house to get them when you need them. Here's an FX2 to use as your crash cam, your behind the scenes cam, to supplement your productions, right? This isn't meant to be an A cam. It's the A7 IV sensor. This isn't a new sensor. The sensor's not doing anything new or exciting. There is some discussions of maybe it's got a little bit better dynamic range because they did some stuff with the noise reduction. Watch Gerald's video, is much better stuff than I'll ever. Hey, I'm talking. For someone who's brand new, who wants to enter Sony's cinema ecosystem, FX2, okay, sure, the FX2 could be your way in the door. For someone that's already, if you already own an FX3 or even an FX30, unless, I was gonna say better stills, but I don't know that the stills are gonna be that much better. They're gonna be incrementally better. If you've got what I've got, if you've got an A6400 and you want to get into Sony cinema cameras, FX2 is a good option. It's an option. I shouldn't even say it's a good option. If you really need the viewfinder for some reason, if you're doing a lot of, Franklin is chewing on his bone. So if you hear Franklin chewing on his bone, that's what that noise is. He's just doing his work while I'm doing my work. The FX2, the rolling shutter is not high, but it's about on par with the A7 IV, so it's not a great wildlife or sports camera. Even though the viewfinder, you would think the viewfinder would help you with wildlife and sports, but the shutter's not that fast. With the mechanical shutter, you're only getting about 10 frames a second. Other cameras on the market do far more frames per second. And then if you use the electronic shutter, the global shutter is probably too high to get good wildlife and sports photos. It's just weird. I like it, but it's weird. And that's what I'm going to say about the FX2. I like it a lot. It's weird. As soon as I can get my hands on one, we're going to go out and do a shoot. We'll do photos and videos for you guys. And I also need to get new ND filters because behind me kind of sucks. But I want to get this video out and hopefully you can forgive me. What am I missing? Am I missing something on this camera? I like it. It's just a little weird. If you're new here, please subscribe, like the video, and do all the things. Share it with your friends. Your friends would love me. Your friends would love me. Just saying. Friends that like me. What? See you next time. Goodbye.